there's nothing you have to do in this life. There's no set design. You get to design it. And most of us are not being creative enough with how we design it. I used to think that, bi-coastal was like the ultimate dream. Living in the US, you could live in 2 places. But I now live in New York 8, 9 months of the year. And the rest of the 3, I spend kind of wherever I want. I hiked down here this morning, and it's one of my favorite hikes in one of my favorite places in Greece. And I live a month here whenever I can. And I've been doing so since 2017. And at first it started as vacations. I'm like, let me go for, a couple weeks, see a couple places. And once I found a place I loved, I've just been coming back to the same place for about a month every time. I have family here. I have a community here. I get here and people remember my face. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to cultivate a sense of home and community in a country where I barely speak the language. I'm learning. But familiarity and comfort and that sense of home can be found in so many places in the world. And yet we don't give ourselves the opportunities to explore that. Like, we think there are these really fixed lives we have to live, that success follows a certain path. And even if you step off and do the entrepreneurship thing, you still have to follow a path to do that. The amount of money you have to make, the way you have to sell, the way you get leads, funnels. Anything that is too prescriptive stops being of us. Like, even with my business now, so many things I resist doing because they don't feel right to me. There's certain companies I don't want to give money to. And so ads don't make sense for me, since Facebook and Instagram and all of that ends up being one of the best places to source your ads. But that's not a company I want to give money to. I don't like the idea of giving people a bunch of really basic free tools that don't build upon anything, because I'm playing into their basest desires about, some small thing that can get them some small win. Because the work that I do is much deeper. It is about getting back to the truth of what matters to you, what you care about, what you want to experience in this life, how you want to live. And that requires a reconnection with ourselves. That requires a knowing about what matters to us, what we care about. And it requires shutting out a lot of the noise that gets in the way, that makes us think we don't have enough and we are not enough. Whether it's our families or our peers, whether it's corporations wanting us to spend much more money with them than we need to, whether it's a certain lifestyle that we think we have to buy into, a certain standard of living. Like, if you're not staying in certain hotels, if you're not driving certain cars, if you're not sending your kids to certain schools, it's a lot of, the old way of saying is keeping up with the Joneses, but it's more than that now. It almost comes from this internal place of wanting, of yearning for these things. Because partly our devices, partly what's happening around our world, partly the amount of information that we take in on a daily basis makes us constantly question whether we have what we need. And most of us who live in the US, who have jobs, have so much more than we need. If anything, we're filling our time with things we don't need, like the Netflixes, like scrolling. It's not to say that any of those things are bad. It's just, it's taking us away from the things that really matter to us, how we want to design things, how we want to live. My time spent on my phone is quite high when I'm here because of the photos that I use, plus the calls that I'm making from my phone, plus the WhatsApp usage. But I barely use social media. I'm barely engaged with any kind of doom scrolling. I'm spending time in places like this to start my morning. I go to the bakery near where I live, and I say hi to the girls there because I've gotten to know them. I actually have been making bread with my friend for his restaurant in the mornings. Not every morning, so every 2-3 days. And I have a coffee, and I might go for a swim, I might go on a hike to a place like this, and I slowly start my day. Like, that's this period of life when I'm here for the month that I'm gonna be on this island. But when I get back to New York, it's still pretty slow. Slow mornings, quiet, get started like around 10, 11. Like, you get to set that pace. You get to build towards a place where you can design your life that way. And the main thing to cut out is the noise of everyone else's voices saying it should look like something else, that life needs to be a certain style, that success needs to look a certain way, there has to be a certain amount of money in your bank account. I met a chef here. He's 24, he's Greek, he grew up in Athens, and he's one of the most grounded people that I've ever met. And I would know, I spend my time kind of searching for grounded people and working with people to get grounded. And immediately upon meeting him, you can sense his openness to life, the world. There's nothing to hide. And we had a conversation, and he talked about how growing up in the economic crisis in Greece, that most people didn't have very much. People lost their jobs, their homes, their things, and they had to be really grounded. I bet not everyone was, but apparently his family was able to stay really grounded. And he was like, I only care about what's real. Making things that are real with my hands, having real conversations with people, feeling real connection, seeing the world and what's interesting and real about it. And it was so inspiring because that's what I wish for everyone. That groundedness in self. Because it wasn't about him going out to travel to seek anything. There was no void he was trying to fill. He was already full and he wanted to go explore. And so there's nothing wrong with the things you choose to do, just like there's nothing wrong with travel. But the problem that I find with the way that people approach travel now is it's very like capitalistly minded, this collecting of countries, right? The 63 and counting. And it's just like, who the fuck cares how many countries you've been to? What did you experience? Who did you meet? What did you learn? What experiences did you have? How did you relate to the local people? What traditions did you, come upon? How did that enrich your life? What did that teach you? I've traveled all over Greece because I really love this country. And granted, I've spent more time in the countryside, in the mountains, on the islands, but with the villagers, with the people who live here, the local people. And there's a deep groundedness. There's a simplicity. There isn't much that has to be done in the day. Just the thing you do if you have to do something for work, the coffee you need to drink, the backgammon you need to play, the friends you need to say hello to, the sleep you need to get, the food you need to eat. That's it. Like, what else is there? And what my friend was really getting at, the chef, he essentially was getting at knowing what enough is. Because when I am in Greece, like, I stay in really simple accommodations. There isn't even a stove. But, I cut vegetables. I hard boil some eggs. I borrow someone's hot water for a while and hard boil a bunch of eggs. So I've got eggs. And that's kind of it. But I live on the beach. Like, my day is super simple. Walks like this, swim, eat, work, eat, swim, work, say hello to a friend, smoke a cigarette, chill out for a little while, go back to work. Like, what else do we need? And so when I say that we're not being creative enough with how we design our lives, it's not about more, though I'm not saying more is inherently bad. It's being inherently creative about what it is that we value and then finding ways to look for it. Like what I value, what I've always valued, because I had a really small family that was, my parents split when I was really young, I always wanted this sense of a family, this big family connection. And actually being in Greece, like I have that. I have this massive family in Greece that I've connected to. I always rent from them. And 3 generations live together, and I plug into that. And I get home cooked meals, and I get kisses in the morning. I have a whole community of people that feel like family here, that take care of each other like family, because it is a small place. But if you had told me when I was, a kid wanting that, or even in my 20s wanting that I would find family on a random, not random, but a tiny island in the middle of the Mediterranean in Greece, I would have been like, how? How the fuck would that happen? But here we are. And now, knowing that kind of deep connection, that kind of familiarity, that kind of being known by people who care about you inherently and just love you for you, now I can find that anywhere. Because you then know what you're seeking. You're seeking a certain kind of quality, energy, connection. It doesn't have to look any one way. And the fact that it can look an endless number of ways is the beauty, is the creativity, is where you get to work with the world, all the things in it, to try and find a way to what it is that you most want. I love places where the mountains meet the ocean, and without necessarily like doing research and typing online, where do mountains meet the ocean? Like as I move around the world, I find places where mountains meet the sea or the water, and I'm like, this feels like home. This island is one of those places. Everywhere I travel outside of New York City is one of those places. The jungles in Costa Rica, the mountains in Taiwan, or it's an island, so it meets the sea, it meets the ocean really easily. Montana, where there's the epically beautiful glacial lakes. Like, there are endless places that I could go now to seek that. And so getting back to the things that matter to you are important so that you can be creative with them, so that you can start to find ways that you never imagined, you never could have imagined on your own to experience it. Because by understanding the experiences you're trying to have, the qualities you're trying to embody, the life you're trying to live, how you want to exist in the world, going out with those intentions, not outcome goals, but experiential goals, with no set idea about how it needs to look, you will be amazed at how many ways it will find you. But first, we have to open ourselves up to all possibilities. We have to be open. We have to be curious. Operating from this place of lack, of this place of need, from this place of urgency of like, why don't we have this? Why doesn't my bank account look like this? Why have I been to this country yet? Or when am I going to reach my 70 country count? Why can't I get my kids into this school? Why can't I buy this car? Why can't this home? Like all that stuff. The outcomes don't really matter. You get to experience whatever outcome comes from you being clear on the experiences that you want, on how you want to experience this life. And the sooner you do that, the sooner you can go out with that intention, with those goals in mind, but being released from the outcome. Because if we're tied to an outcome, then if that outcome doesn't happen, it's almost as if to say, then we failed, we're unhappy. But if you don't define the outcome so explicitly, but you define the experience you want to have, that is far easier to ensure, because you can cultivate your own experience, because you get to decide how you want to engage with the world. It's not that every day I find someone who can be like a family connection to me. However, every day I'm open to people, and I see where different conversations go and different connections go. And that allows me to find these people who ultimately become family. And now I have family like all over the world. Places that I know I can go and I will feel like they're home. like they are home, because the people are what makes the place home. And so friends that I met when I was in Barcelona, completely randomly, at a bar, I know that if I wanted to go to Switzerland, to their small town 3 hours outside of Zurich, and to go see them, I can. I met a whole Kiwi family when I first got to this island, and it was a wedding. Their daughter was getting married, but I met the whole family. And now I have people in New Zealand that I can go visit if I find myself there. Like, but none of those things could have been outcomes that I had set. And if I had gone out with that outcome of like, let's find a family in New Zealand that I can connect with and maybe stay with, like, that'd be absurd. Because, like, why be so narrow when the family could live anywhere? And that would give me a new place to go with a much deeper connection to place. And so I hope that you'll spend some time thinking about what truly matters to you and what you want to experience, what qualities you want to feel in your life, how you want to engage with it, and then release yourself from how it needs to look, and go out into the world with those intentions, with those desires, but without the need for it to turn out any certain way. And it'll come to you a lot faster than you think, often a lot faster than outcome goals, because without being prescriptive about the outcome, you will be constantly surprised by how many ways that outcome can come to life.